Episode 4, crown molding for the cabinets. Crown molding with a little twist. The next step for the cabinets is the crown molding. Now this is the same profile that we have at the ceiling, but instead of the 4 3/4 inch, it's the 3.5 inch. So since it's closer to the eye, you want a slightly smaller crown molding so it doesn't kind of dominate the top of the cabinet. The toughest part about crown molding in a kitchen that has a Lazy Susan cabinet is these two corners right here and here. In an ideal world, those would be 22.5 degrees. We're all pretty sure those are not 22.5 degrees. So I have a tool to get the right measurement to make the miter cuts. It's a miter angle finder thing. It's Starrett. I bought it years ago. This is kind of expensive. There's analogs of this now everywhere for a lot less money. But when you put it in the corner, the black pointer gives you the straight cut. The red pointer gives you the miter cut. It's got other functions as well, but let's get up there and take a measurement in this corner. There. Okay. It's not 22.5 degrees. It's just a hair under. It's like 22.25 shy degrees. And on this one, it's the same. So we know it's not 22.5 degrees. We know this is not laid out plumb, straight, and square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a piece of crown molding from that end to here with the right cut. Do this piece here, then with the right cut, then do this piece here. The way it's going to be mounted is the crown molding that I showed you earlier will have a cleat in the back of it that will tack right into the top of the cabinets, so that it was just a little shadow reveal line here. So let's go in the shop and start chopping up some crown molding. As I mentioned, I'm going to put a cleat on the back of the crown molding here at the bottom. It's a 3/4 inch cleat, which will mount like so. And that allows me to fasten it to the top of the cabinets very easily. The crown molding has been pre-painted. I painted the crown molding. I'll be attaching the cleats with some glue and my pinner. This is the last of my regularly used tools that's still pneumatic. There's a battery-powered version of this I might be getting in the future. But this is my pinner with some long pins. And what I'll be doing is putting some dabs of glue on here and then attaching the cleats on the back like that. Now, this is the long piece that's going to go up over the stove. I've trimmed the ends off flush so they're nice and clean. I want a piece of cleat to stick out at the back end of it because I have to attach more crown molding to the end of it because this isn't long enough. And I've already done a test cut. Parts over here. I did a test cut for the miter, and I found I had to make some minor adjustments in the miter. But I've got the 22 and something degree miter now, and I've marked the miter saw where the cuts are going to go, and I'll do the same for the next 22.5 degree miter. Make sure I get that accurate. And of course there'll be some caulking between the pieces of crown molding where they come together. So let's get started and let's see, this is the far end. That's the far end. This is the close-in end. So I can put this up basically flush with the surface here, like that. And then put a piece down here that sticks out maybe 6 inches. So let's do some glue and pinning. This will probably be a time lapse because it's boring, kinda. Now, using a pinner has an advantage in that the holes are very small, and usually paint will cover the holes up. You don't have to fill them. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to be, I'll probably fill them anyway because, you know, I'm that guy. So there's one piece. Now let's get the other one. And that's got to hang out a little bit to catch the next piece of wood. Okay, put it on this time. Put the excess glue. See, now you can see kind of what's going on here. That'll sit on top of the cabinets like that, like so. And I'll just fire it down with a brad nailer from the top into the cabinet itself. So I'm gonna let that glue dry for a while. One other advantage to putting this cleat on the crown molding, if you're going to do something like this, see, that's a better picture how it's set up, is how you can cut it on the miter saw. Now we all know crown molding, upside down and backwards and yada yada yada. Well, that's mathematically challenging sometimes, but this technique makes it simpler because of how you can hold it in the miter saw. Now some are going to find this a little cringeworthy, I get that. But if you do this carefully and you cut slowly, it's a great advantage when you're doing crown molding that's going to sit on top of something like this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. With the cleat nailed and glued along the length of the crown molding, it's not going to move, it's not going to blow apart on you. I've got the saw set to 22.5 degrees in that direction. I can't really put a camera on this side of the saw because there's stuff in the way, and the outfeed table's right behind me. The joys of a small shop. So you hold the workpiece right up against the fence like so, and there's my laser line. I'm going to do a 22.5 degree cut. Now what you want to do is do the cut slowly so you don't chip any wood out and it doesn't fly across the shop. Now I know some people will cringe that I'm cutting on this side and using my left hand, but so be it. So let's make the cut. You see it held together nicely, and there's your 22.5 degree cut for doing a corner like the corner cabinet I have, and that's the technique. Now the other way, of course, the old way, the way you normally do it is upside down and backwards and all kinds of weird angles and a little bit of mathematical gymnastics. This just makes it easier. Now of course you can't do this when you're doing crown molding for your ceiling, but for cabinet tops it works really great. I got it up there. I got my test piece as a guide to get it in the right place and my gun. Apologize for the lighting in here. I don't have camera lights or whatever. I'm shooting with the ambient light in the kitchen, as you've seen in other parts of the video. I may try to fix it in post, but I'm still kind of learning a lot of that video stuff. So, get this piece turned up and where I want it, and get this. Use my test piece to get it lined up correctly and out. That's it. The 3/4 inch, by the way, sets the depth correctly. And then 1. So now I got to go down and do the rest of it down that way, add a piece. But I'm going to do this corner first so I can complete that in this video. And then we'll move on. Now I have to climb down. So I've got the short pieces going across there. I've made the cut on this side, and I think I've got it where I really need it. Up onto the counter, place it in place. Yeah, that's going to work fine. That's going to work fine. So what I need to do now is mark here, under here where this corner is. Okay, so that's marked. Now I've got to make this cut for the next linear piece going across here. And of course that cut's going to be this way, and I have to, this way, across this way. I'd have to sneak up on it, so back in the shop to do some cutting. Okay, with much sneaking up and mashing of teeth, I think I've got it now. So let's take the gun up with me. Let's see how we doing here. Now this will get cocked on this side to make it look better. All right, that's going to work there. Okay, that's that. So that is where we're going to end the video now, because the rest is just crown molding, crown molding, crown molding. We'll end the video here, and I think that's the end of this series for doing the kitchen, because the rest of it's just trim painting and wall painting, and that's kind of the boring stuff. I will do a review of that spray gun. Hopefully I'll be able to publish that next week. Anyhow, until next time, make great things out of wood and maybe remodel a room like I said before. There we go. In place. Let the camera adjust. There we go. All the crown molding in place, caulked and painted.